The dialogue with the city is organic. That we are a living organism. The city is not a machine. It is made of structures, but it is something that we are all creating.
The four of us put together a map of Brussels, and what we wanted to see is where are people active. It's setting things up in terms of the network of communications. We're following the people whose stories we're putting down, and then we're posting back up there. So there's a network of communication that we set up with hashtags that starts now. But our goal with this workshop is to then find the dark spots on the map.
We work with augmented reality to kind of, alter people's understanding of public space and create a more democratic and interactive environment for people that creates a space that's kind of outside of our normal concept of how we interact with public space, which is usually through commercial media and potentially large-scale public art installation that comes through corporate sponsorship, etc., and isn't very democratic quite at all.
Right? And so one of the ideas is that we can select those geolocated tweets and we can then put them back into the space themselves, right? So the point of reposting that to the person is to engage people in the civic. For this particular workshop, the idea is that the civic is listening. We do participate together, right? And so just that reposting, when I'm looking at my Twitter feed, I'm like, what the hell is that? That's my tweet. Yeah. Somebody I don't know wrote on the wall. Why are they doing that? Imagine walking down the street and you tweet, you write a hashtag BrusselAIR.
To explain here, this dialect is based on a syntactic structure from German, like the Flemish, but with vocabulary and expression from the French. So it's really a mixture.
Great, that's perfect.
And
yeah.
all the Congolese
It's an African name, right?
It's a place.
It's one place.
Anything that distribution is terrible with it because you have to submit to the App Store, which is a 2-week process.
You got that from measurements maybe, that you can do physical measurements of the environment. And based on this, it can be, this can be the context of the conversation for people to do with the quality of air. This was about the quality of air, you see, air quality.
Yeah, social totally has to be in there, right?
Yeah.
You're not learning to think about the city.
Let's go back this way. I'd love to go back and find that wall again. Really, it's about social mapping the city. And if people geolocate their tags, we're pulling them, and then we're taking those tags and we're putting them on walls in chalk, and then we're able to take a picture of our, writing on the wall, bringing their tag into the real space, into analog space, and then reposting it at them again from Twitter, located back where it was. So that, in a way, we are trying to say the city is listening, right? And we are alive. The city is an organism. And really, your social media doesn't have to be lost, but can be a part of commentary around making the place we live even better.
Where are we now? What does it say? Where are we
now?
Now, yeah.
Well, if we put this in, I would think
Yeah, but right across there is cool, right? Start with an idea about being able to make an interactive installation representing that the city is alive, that people are listening, and that we are responding and interacting to each other, and that which happens in the virtual space is not at all absent from real space.
And we will demonstrate that through being in real space connected to virtual space.
Is that we're all in some way talking about translating data. In the case here, we're talking about translating from space. In the case of the tweets, we're talking about translating language, and we're trying to figure out ways to actually put this data together. So we've been listening to Twitter and Flickr for, since last Sunday we've been listening. I have about 50,000 geotagged tweets, Flickr pictures and all the rest that you saw earlier on in the weekend, that map that we sort of produced. It's become a little bit more fluid now. What we've done is we're now looking at how we're going to develop in this space some type of organic forms. And we're going to be taking the language data that's coming in from all of these social media, being able to have it geolocated into the square that we were talking about, and then design these organic forms that are going to grow from it. What those look like, we're not sure yet because we're still kind of workshopping the process, but we do have all the technology already in place, existing, that connects them all together. We think in terms of the EU and in terms of the idea of translating amongst countries, amongst all of these different ideas, that this actually fits very well with what we're talking about.
Ours would be you'd look up to the sky and it'd be like a giant organic form floating above you, and tendrils would be sprouting, and the colouring would be modulating, and that would be all driven by the live feeds from Twitter feeds or whatever data we can pump into that particular form.
Tweets. We're in the town of Magritte, and we're also thinking about how can we use the data around social media, but also how can we tune into some of the human narratives that are literally being spread around in the information sphere around us. If you're on a public square and then you opt in and you say, okay, here's a hashtag that means my tweet's readable, I want this audience to find it, then we can mix that in live into what we're broadcasting. You send an image, you send a video. The public square design, this concept of a Publix there, this is strictly opt-in. You give the information you want. We're not tagging and tracking people. And we went to the street and literally would go to that site, write down that tweet, take a picture of it, and then tweet it back out there to the person who'd written it, so they have a little bit of an uncanny feeling of someone's really reading what I'm doing. They go to this place and they're recognizing me, so it's kind of bigging them up. But also, it starts a conversation across the city.
So this idea of getting a tweet back at you of someone who has taken the time to write this on a city wall, and now it's even, in a weird way, feeling more public, right? There's nothing more public than searchable, right? The city's not searchable, right? But there's nothing more public in a weird way than being written on that wall. And we were very inspired by what you saw outside, this act, react, and impact, right, towards what the commission here is doing for helping to inspire voting, inspire what's going on. And we feel that this same idea is about meeting people where they are at in order for social media, in order for these conversations to happen. And here's a visualization right here in the ground plus. These are just sketches made over the last day or so, right, of what that can be.
Here, I suppose, as a technologist, to assure that the translation machine that we have is working and goes all the way from the Republic visual data, from the social media that's coming in all different languages, to the types of visualizations that we can put onto the map. So we have the technology, just to back up what Howard was saying, it's working right now. We're ready to go and we're ready to connect these things together.
So the idea is that teenagers might quite like it, and it also connects the idea of data, which is normally quite anonymous, with something that's a kind of a living entity.
Actually, this pile of blue spheres represents the amount of the daily amount of CO2 for the city of New York that particular day. It's a nice way of visualizing it. I think we will see a lot more things like that. This kind of very visual, very, if you like, intuitive dashboards. So this is quite a powerful concept for a social change that is yet to come.
We think that the space of the city is open, and that using the city and the people, we can meet people where they're at, participate in that communication, and create new forms of ideas and participation.
If we're really talking about empowerment and democracy, as we have argued amongst us, we have the technology So let's not be afraid to use it in innovative ways. Thank you.